We still have more breaking news because, while I was in the middle of the show, this tea dropped. So apparently, Blake Lively, aka Ku Klux Khaleesi, and Justin Baldoni have settled their lawsuit. Thank you, Jesus. We could all move on. Because funny enough, before I was even talking about this, I saw a video. Shout out to Andy Signor over there at Popcorn Planet, who was talking about that. Yeah, a lot of what was happening was that Ryan Reynolds was meddling a lot in the making of this movie, which I'm sure was growing frustrating on the part of Justin Baldoni. And then maybe that was also what Blake was stressing out over some stuff too, because her husband's tripping in her ear. And I've heard many of stories about how Ryan Reynolds allegedly likes to interfere in a lot of the projects that his wife is working on because he is deeply insecure when it comes to the male co-stars that his wife is working with. Hence why Scarlett Johansson ass was smart enough to leave his behind, after I think they were I think they were married for like a short period of time. I don't even think they were married for a long time. I think they were married for like a year. I can't remember off the top of my head, nor do I care, but I know like what from that whole situation, she was just like, okay, I'm getting tired of your shit, in the words of Miss Badu. So anyway, let's get into the story. So apparently they said, shout out to Variety. After a year and a half of bitter feuding in court and in the press, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni have resolved their legal differences 2 weeks ahead of the federal trial. Well, yeah, now she got smart because before when they went and did that little situation a couple of months ago, she ain't want to settle. And then it was okay. I guess we're going to trial because yeah, you don't want them all them bodies that's been buried to float to the top of the ocean. So now you want to settle. Now, Lively had accused Baldoni, her director and co-star, of sexual harassment on set of their 2024 film, It Ends With Us. She also alleged that when she raised complaints about it, he and his army of publicists engaged in a digital smear campaign to retaliate. Now, in a in a carefully crafted joint settlement. Why do I want to call it a strongly worded letter so damn bad? But anyway, they said in a carefully crafted joint settlement released on Monday, the parties expressed their feelings about moving on. And my feelings exactly. I'm tired. I'm tired of this story. Let's move on from it, yeah. But anyway, so they said the end product, the movie It Ends With Us, is a source of pride to all of us who work to bring it to life, raising awareness and making a meaningful impact on the lives of DV survivors and all survivors is a goal that we stand behind. We acknowledge the process presented, challenges, and recognize concerns raised by Ms. Lively deserve to be heard. We remain firmly committed to workplaces free of improprieties and unproductive environments. It is our sincere hope that this brings closure and it brings closure. I don't even know what the fuck y'all talking about. Like y'all settled, but you sit there mentioning DV, you're mentioning concerns raised by her, and she was heard. I'm glad she was heard. If there was any kind of proprieties or whatever the issues were that was going on set, it's great that she's heard. But what did y'all settle on? What was the settlement? Unless y'all have to keep that sealed and we can't mention it. Now, they say it is our sincere hope that this brings closure and allows all involved to move forward constructively and in peace. Well, I think that's what Justin wanted to do, but she wanted to drag it out because she wanted to ruin his life and she wanted to ruin his career because the fact of the matter that Blake has a lot of money, courtesy of her husband, and them being together and that combined power and stuff and his influence of, Deadpool making him $1 billion um guy in Hollywood, because what else outside of Deadpool has grossed $1 billion for Hollywood off of Ryan Reynolds' name alone? I'll wait. But apparently, because he's good on the side of Disney, they're going to always protect him in a lot of those situations. So, because of their cachet, because of their clout, because of their financial influence and influence on people in the industry, they were trying to get this guy blacklisted. They were trying to ruin his life. They were trying to take over and hijack his movie. And so, he was like, I'm not going down without a fight. This is going to be a David and Goliath type situation. I'm not going to let y'all come up in here and ruin my life, my career, my reputation over some BS. So they said the settlement, blah, 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 comes out about a month after the judge, Lewis Lyman, threw out 10 of Lively's 13 civil claims, including all claims for harassment. The ruling left 3 claims: retaliation, aiding and abetting retaliation, and breach of contract, to be decided by a jury. Now, at the time, they said her attorney said she looked forward to telling her story on a witness stand, but the attorney, Sigrid McCauley, who seemed to telegraph that the settlement was a real possibility, suggested that Lively had already achieved her goals by exposing the smear machine at the heart of the case. I just don't think she had a rat chance in hell of winning this case. I think that's why they settling, because you sitting there saying that if all this was that you get to expose something, you exposing it a while ago, like when this shit been going on for like a year and a half. Y'all was doing all the exposing of what allegedly that Justin was doing and all that other mess. So why is it that you're saying now she's achieved her goal to expose the smear machine at the heart of the case? I thought this was brought out a while ago. And if you really want to talk about, wasn't there a whole New York Times article taken out by her that she tried to do a whole smear campaign on Justin Baldoni? So who knows? Maybe it was a tit for tat type situation on both y'all parts. So they did say something another for Blake Lively. The greatest measurement of justice is that people in the playbook behind those coordinated digital attacks have been exposed and already being held accountable by other women they've targeted. So I guess he's saying that yeah, that he targeted other people. And they said she also took to Instagram to claim a measure of victory at the time. The last say excuse me, the last thing I wanted in my life was a lawsuit, but I brought this case because of the pervasive retaliation I faced and continue to for privately and professionally asking for a safe working environment for myself and others. I hope the court's decision shows others that, as unfathomably painful as it is, you can speak up. Baldoni responded with a lengthy defamation lawsuit in federal court, alleging that Lively had, in fact, destroyed his reputation with false allegations of harassment in a cynical bid to hijack his film. He also sued the New York Times. Lively had countersued, accused Baldoni, Wayfair Studios, and others of harassment, retaliation, and other claims. Now, Baldoni's defamation suit was thrown out in the early stages as the judge ruled that Lively and the Times were both protected by privileges covering litigation and reporting on litigation. Now, after more than a year of extensive discovery and bitter legal fighting, most of Lively's claims were also thrown out, mostly on technical grounds instead of the merits. Lively was found to be an independent contractor, not an employee, meaning she could not sue for harassment under federal law. And since the filming took place in New Jersey, she can now file a suit under California's harassment statute. So yeah, it's like if the film wasn't filmed in California, um you can't bring up a legality situation if it didn't happen there. So that's the latest. We don't know necessarily what they settled on. Okay, why is this shit not closing? So yeah, we don't know necessarily what they didn't settle on, whatever the case is. But I guess we'll find out sooner or later. What I'm gonna do is if it boils down, when it comes down to the whole situation, I'll just have to do some further digging because this is breaking news. So I need to kind of do further digging and see like if there are any of my usual go-tos that'll find out what exactly they settled on in that whole situation. And I'll bring you that news when it becomes available. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding the latest on Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively? That they finally decided to settle this case. We can finally put it behind us. I hope they settle with prejudice. So that means they ain't got to revisit this down the line because I'm tired of them. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of talking about this tired ass Colleen Hoover, this movie based on a tired ass Colleen Hoover book, is basically what I wanted to say. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below.